Hey everybody, Jason here, and today I'm going to show you how you can upload your sketches, your programs, using the PlatformIO IDE to an Accelerate board. Let's check it out. We are going to start by looking at the web page for PlatformIO because I found it really easy to move forward and get this thing installed. If you go to PlatformIO, right at the very top there's a Getting Started button, and we can click on that. And what we want to do is we want to take the PlatformIO IDE option. And so we're going to just scroll down to the bottom here and go right to the Getting Started or Get Started button. We're going to click on that. And what we are going to do in this particular case, what I've done is installed it for Atom. Now, Atom is GitHub's text editor that is crazy hackable and extensible. And I'm learning the ropes with this as I go along as well. And it didn't occur to me until I was actually installing this that, hey, I've seen this before as part of the particle development environment. And so I am somewhat familiar with Atom and I didn't even realize it. But this is the one we're going to do. We're going to click on this. We're going to install for Atom. And it takes us to a nice Getting Started page with instructions that we can just scroll right through and we can follow right along. And I did exactly as they suggested and everything worked really, really well. So I'm not going to do all this for you, but you can go ahead and do that in your environment. It starts by downloading the Atom editor itself and installing it. And then PlatformIO is a package that installs over the top, and the instructions for doing that are very clear and easy to follow. So once that is installed and everything's up and going, we can do our first project to target the Accelerate board. In order to do that, we're going to go back to the PlatformIO IDE. And we've got that running here. I guess technically it's Atom, but we've got the PlatformIO package running on top of it. And you'll notice that you have a new menu item. And if we click on it, we'll see that we can select this PlatformIO home. There's a bunch of things you can run and a bunch of stuff you can do, which will start to make more sense the more you use PlatformIO. But the first place we want to start is with the home. And what this does is it brings us to the home page within the package. And this is kind of like the command center where you can really control a lot of things. You can play with your account, you can install libraries, which we'll get to in a moment, and you can configure the boards and platforms that you're targeting. So really a single place where you can control all of that. What we are going to focus on is creating a new project. Now, as a quick aside, you can import existing Arduino projects if you have them. This was a great move on the PlatformIO team's part because it made it really easy for me to just try something out for the first time. I was able to take an existing project I had for Arduino, import it, and run it, and it worked really well. Very easy. So if you want to try that first, that's something you can do. We're going to focus on creating a new project here today. So we're going to click on the New Project button, and that's going to bring up this dialog. And the first thing we want to do is select a board. We will go down and select our Alorium Accelerate board. Then we need to choose a directory where we want the project to live. I have a PlatformIO directory, and I'm going to create a new folder, and we will call it foo because it's the old standby. So here we are, we've got our board selected, we've got the foo project directory, we're going to click process. And what this is going to do is install the framework and the files and directories that we need to be able to do our project with PlatformIO. We get this nice green window that says, looks good. So we're going to close the home window now, and we'll take a look at the project. I'll make this pane a little smaller. So here you can see that it created this directory structure. There's a library directory. So here's our foo project, and then a library and the source. And then we have a few configuration files, and we'll talk about PlatformIO in just a few minutes. The next thing we need to do is create a file. We'll do foo.ino. Okay, now what I've done is I've actually got some code I'm going to paste in here because we're going to do something really simple. We're just basically going to make this a blink sketch. And so I'm dumping in a setup to just configure the built-in LED pin as an output, and then just loop, as you've probably seen 100 times before if you've done this. And we're going to go ahead and build that. So we're pretty much ready to go. So this check mark is the build button. We'll click that, and it brings up a window down below here that will run through and build our script. Or I'm sorry, go through and build our program. So it finished off, and one of the things that disappears right away, so let me bring that back up. You can see that, yep, success, it got done, so that's great. So now we know it compiles, and why don't we go ahead and upload it to the platform. So I'll do that right now. I'll click upload, and we will just upload it up there. It auto detects the serial connection or the USB serial connection, which is actually pretty slick. And so there we go. Now we're blinking on our Accelerate board. So that was actually pretty simple. Really straightforward, easy to use, and so if you're interested in trying this out, you can. Now, one thing we do need to talk about is this platform INI file. And it becomes important because if you want to use any of the accelerator blocks that come as part of Accelerate board, then you need to be able to use our libraries. And we need to add something here to use our libraries, at least in the short term. That may change in time. But let's show you an example of what we would need to change. So if we go back to our code, I'm now going to add some additional code to use those neopixels that are on the setup that we have here in the video. So I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to dump in some code for neopixels. So what we've done, or what I've added, is I've added an include file for our Accelerate NeoPixel library, defined where it's connected, how many pixels there are, and here's the constructor for the strip. And then down here, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the brightness low because these things are crazy bright, and maybe someday I'll tell the story of the ocular migraine I got as a result of them. And then we're going to light the entire strip one single color. And in this case, it's set to zeros, which I don't really want. Why don't we make it blue? And now we'll save that. Now, what we're going to do is hit compile, and we should get an error because we're including this. And right now, you'll see if I hit compile, we should see some red go scrolling by here. And sure enough, we got an error. What does the error say? Well, the error says NeoPixel library requires tools, boards, accelerate, XXX selection. Now, this is an error specifically defined or designed to be used with the Arduino IDE. So we don't have a tools, boards, menu option currently with PlatformIO. So at least we know that, hey, it's expecting something. And this really comes from within the Accelerate libraries. They want to make sure that you're compiling for one of our Accelerate boards in order to try to take advantage of these libraries. Otherwise, the hardware you're trying to use won't exist. So what we need to do is we need to pass a define in on the command line as a command line argument with the compile. And we're going to do that in this platform.ini file. Now what I want to do is I'm going to add another project folder that I've been working on that already has this stuff in it. So I'll open this up. And you can see I've got this code down below. And this is the code that I want. We're going to paste in this additional build flag so that when we compile our code, it's going to pass this define for Arduino Accelerate onto the command line, and then it'll get rid of this error for us. Right now we need to do this because the boards manifest for PlatformIO didn't define this. We just recently made that change, and maybe in time we won't need to copy this in here. And if that happens, we will make a slight tweak to this video, but I just wanted to point that out right now. This may not be necessary at a later point in time. So I'm going to save that, and we'll go back to our code, and let's try compiling it again. Okay, so we got success. It compiled. We are going to do a build and upload, and we should see that NeoPixel strip that's sitting there behind the Accelerate board light up to, looks like it's going to be all blue as soon as it updates. So we should get the blink and we should get the blue LEDs. And there they go. So we're working. That is about it. Pretty simple and pretty straightforward. I hope this helps. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.